Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. Just wanted to make a video because I got tagged by Heather from Heather Reads, and that's with one R instead of two. I believe that there is another Heather Reads with two R's, but this Heather has the one R in the tag in her YouTube name. But she tagged me for a book tag that she created called the Coffee Break Tag. And yeah, I believe she said, and I'll have all the information in the box down below, the description box. This reading challenge she's having go, I believe, to the end of December of 2025. But I'd have to rewatch her video to be absolutely certain, but I seem to remember that's what she said. Now, what's cool about this tag is it's a mixture of a tag and a read-a-thon kind of thing. It's a challenge to, first of all, see what books you picked up based on the title, and then kind of challenge yourself to read those books before the end of 2025. Which I thought was cool because I have a very bad habit of picking up new books and not reading what's in my stash. So this could help a little bit with that. I know that it's helped me decide my history books for the most part for quarter four, for Historathon. So, okay. Now for the prompts. And it starts off with, the big overhead is, have you ever bought a book because it had ... So, have you ever picked up a book because it had a funny title? Now, I have several books in this category, and I believe all of them are Kindle books. So, it looks like most of them are murder mystery. Oh, except for the one. And actually, I think it's the only one that's not a Kindle book. No, that one was a Kindle book as well. So, there's only one that's not a murder mystery. All the rest are murder mysteries. So, I definitely picked up this book because of the title. It's called The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Oliver Sacks. And I have read this one before. I actually believe I listened to it. I will maybe try to actually read it this time because I always get so much more out of it when I read things. Actually read them. And this is a book by a neurologist talking about different kind of weird aberrations neurologically, and besides what caused them, just how the wires sometimes get mixed or things fire weirdly. I mean, sometimes, if I remember correctly, sometimes it'll be like a tumor or something, but sometimes it's just like the wiring got messed up somehow. His books are interesting. Now, this is the only one I've made all the way through. He has another one that I want to read called Musicphilia, which is talking about music and how the brain works with that. And I believe I talked about that, mentioned that in passing in a different book. But this is the one, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, is one that I actually literally was like, oh, that title sounds cool. And Oliver Sacks is no longer with us, so he was a neurologist. Anyway. The next book is the first of a bunch of classic murder mysteries. It's Let Dead Enough Alone by Francis and Richard Lockridge. I've actually never read any of their books, but that title is just amusing. Black is the Color of My True Love's Heart by Ellis Peters. And Ellis Peters, I'm familiar with her work on Brother Cadfile mysteries, but this is not a Brother Cadfile. Death to the Landlords, another one by Ellis Peters. Buffet for Unwelcome Guests by Christiana Brand. And I know she has more fun titles, but I wasn't able to find the rest of her fun titles in my collection. Still Dead by Ronald Knox. I Could Murder Her by E.C.R. Lorac. Now, the last E.C.R. Lorac, I felt like the ending was disappointing, but I'm willing to give, I believe it's her, give her another chance. And she was a yeah, a member of the detection club, along with Agatha Christie, Dorothy Sayers, Christiana Brand, Ronald Knox, a bunch of other people, including Chesterton, who was at one point the president. I think it was until he passed, and Agatha Christie took over a little later, or much later. So those are the ones that fall under a funny title for me. Let me get a drink. No tea today because I horribly oversteeped mine, so I need to remake a new cup. Have you ever bought a book because it had a shocking title? Now, yeah, I mean, these are kind of shocking, but my idea of shocking might be a bit different than other people because I do read murder mysteries, and those titles tend to be funny to me. But this one is one of the closest one I can think about, even though it's not really shocking. This is Murder at the Met, based on the exclusive accounts of detectives Mike Struck and Jerry Giorgio on how they solved the Phantom of the Opera case. And I think that was the part that was like, Phantom of the Opera case, what? Never read this. I honestly don't even know how I found it. It was a title that kind of was like, oh, hey, that sounds interesting. Now, I thought I had this on as a physical book, but I actually only have these next few on Kindle. The first is The Facemaker by Lindsay Fitzharris. And she's the same author who wrote The Butchering Art, which I read last year, and it's about Leicester, Dr. Leicester, who I absolutely loved the book, Joseph Leicester, and came away with a huge respect for her subject. Now, The Facemaker, I believe, is about a plastic surgeon, but I'm not sure. But, like, he did reconstruction work for soldiers' faces, if I remember correctly. I haven't actually read it. The next one, also a Kindle book, Dr. Icepick by Claire Prentice. Now, this should be interesting, especially since I'm thinking it's about the particular doctor who did the really wild ones, where he was basically a showman when he did his ice pick lobotomies. Complete, no real conscience whatsoever. Disgusting person. NPR did an interview, and I think I read the book as well, or listened to the book, about the final patient of this particular doctor. He was a young boy whose stepmother hated him. And he talked about how this lobotomy really ruined his life and how he had to work to come back from that because he didn't need a lobotomy. His stepmother was basically hoping that he would become like a vegetable from it. And when he didn't, it was very frustrating for her. But yeah, Dr. Icepick is going to focus on the doctor, I believe, in that. Then this one I did absolutely pick up because of the title. Oh, it's on Kindle. We'll All Be Murdered in Our Beds by Duncan Campbell. Now, I believe that this is about newspapermen and maybe the shocking headlines. I'm actually not really sure. I just like the title. So, look forward to reading that one. A title that sounded like a line in poetry. Now, this was a little hard for me, but eventually I found some to fall in there. Writing with Scissors, American Scrapbooks from the Civil War to the Harlem Renaissance. And I just find that title, Writing with Scissors, to be just such a, I don't know, such a kind of, I guess, poetic-y kind of title. Even though that doesn't really, I guess, sound like a line of poetry, but it made me think of kind of cool poetry-ish. I'm stretching for this one. Then I have Embroidering Her Truth on Kindle, and it's by Claire Hunter. And I believe it's about, working off of memory, I believe it's on Mary, Queen of Scots, and her embroidery work. So look forward to that one. I don't know a whole lot about it other than that. After that, I had The Emperor of All Maladies by Siddhartha Mukherjee. Oh gosh, sounds like it's Indian or something. And this is about cancer, actually. But The Emperor of All Maladies sounds like it should be like the name of like a poem or something. Even though it's about cancer. And then the last one, which really sounds like it should be, to me, like it should be a poem title or whatever, The Dance of Time by Michael Judge. Is that the name of the guy who played Teal'c in Stargate? I want to say it is. No, it's Christopher Judge, I believe, who actually is the guy who played Teal'c in Stargate. Anyway, Dance of Time, I believe, is about the history of calendars. But I can't remember. The title is cool, though. Now, what title made me ask a question? What title did I pick up that made me ask a question? This one's a physical book, and I really don't even know how I found this. The Stasi Poetry Circle, the creative writing class that tried to win the Cold War. And I'm just like, what? This sounds like it could be such a fun, cool kind of book. I just have this picture of these military guys with their, I don't know, dressed up in their like military uniforms, like their guns next to them while they're working hard on their poetry and having like a drill sergeant over them like, no, that's not good enough, soldier. I guess it would be comrade, actually, because this was dealing with the Cold War, so. Anyway, so that one looks cool. I look forward to reading that. And that'll be actually this coming quarter because it fits in. Heartwarming or homely title. This one was hard for me. So again, I had to kind of stretch for this. These are both Kindle books. First one is Murder on Blueberry Pie because Blueberry Pie is heartwarming. And it's by Francis and Richard Lockridge, and I had mentioned in my funny titles one of their books as well. And then the other one, which I do actually kind of think is heartwarming, is Adopted Son, Washington, Lafayette, and the Friendship That Saved the Revolution. Apparently they really did have, and this came up in the Ron Chernow book on Washington, just the close father-son type relationship between Washington and Lafayette. Apparently Lafayette lost his father when he was very young, and Washington never had any children, so he tended to kind of adopt people unofficially. So, yeah, that sounds like it just could be a very nice story, kind of heartwarming in that aspect of it, even though you have the backdrop of the war. Then, have you ever had a title with an unusual combination of words? This was kind of vague, in my opinion, and hard for me to just, like, kind of figure out, but I think I had one that works. This is David Crystal's That's the Ticket for Soup, which is kind of an odd title. But it's about Victorian views on vocabulary as told in the pages of Punch. And that just sounds like it could be really cool. And this would actually fall in for next quarter because that's where Victorian era falls in. So this would be a quick read, or should be. It's, besides being amusing, it's a very small book. It's only, gosh, it can't be more than 200 pages. Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to be shocked if it's 200 pages. It's barely 100. It's barely 100. It's 108. So, yeah. That book should go really fast next quarter. A fantastic or magical title. Now, I could have gone with an actual fantasy, but I don't actually read a ton of fantasies that I'm not already familiar with. So, or by authors that I'm already familiar with, so I wouldn't be picking up just because of the title, usually. But I end up finding something that kind of falls in this category. This is Basilisk and Beowulf, Monsters in the Anglo-Saxon World, which sounds like it could be cool. I did pick this up really because of the title. I've never read this author. I wasn't actually looking for something on creatures. It doesn't look like there's any pictures. Why? You should have pictures in this. Or you'd think you'd have pictures in this. Oh, okay, they do have some. Doesn't look like they have a lot, though. But yeah, I got this last year or the year before, but I haven't read it yet. Then finally, a title which is a contradiction or describes the impossible. Now these are both Kindle books. The first one is Gangsters versus Nazis by Michael Benson. And I don't even know how I heard about this. I must have been looking for something World War II. And the title, Gangsters versus Nazis, I absolutely picked that up because of the title. Because that's just awesome. So look forward to reading that on Kindle. And the other one is The Woman Who Wasn't There by Robin Gabby Fisher and Angelo J. Guglielmo. Guglielmo? Anyway, this is about a con person during the time of 9/11. And I don't want to go too much more into detail. I am somewhat familiar with the story already, but it'd be interesting reading the full details. But I really do like that title, The Woman Who Wasn't There. Sounds like it should be like an Agatha Christie mystery or something, or Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, that is the coffee break book tag for me. Thank you, Heather, for tagging me. I think this is a great idea. It has set me up partially for the rest of the year and for the coming year. It'll help me read partially through my book stash instead of hopefully keeping me from hopefully picking up more books. Hopefully keep me from picking up more books. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, thank you very much for tagging me. I will have in down below the people that I will tag. And yeah, look forward to reading these books coming up ahead. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And yeah, God bless. Bye.